On today's Minute of the Apes, Todd needs to pay more attention to his ships, and Richard needs to pay more attention to his sleep.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
What is the secret of the divine bomb?
The only good human is a dead human! Where there is fire, there is smoke.
The minute of the apes. 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 Yay!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. That was Sean talking. And Richard,
Hey.
How much did you sleep last night?
4.5 hours.
Man, I don't sleep a lot. I usually about 6 hours a night. But 4.5, I would probably not be able to do what we're doing right now.
I just wake up so early that I just woke up and just started moving. I mean, I got to take a nap at some point.
What time do you usually go to bed?
Sometime between 9 and 10, and then I get up at 4:15.
Man, I just can't do that. Yeah, literally, I would sit here and I will just be so droopy-eyed that I can't even focus on what I'm doing. So you are here, full of sunshine and ready to talk apes, though, right?
I'm ready. I'm just rereading the script because I think it's relevant.
Well, it's no mystery to anyone out there. We as a team have fully bumped into the filing cabinet. Caesar's heard how much we hate this movie. He may not hear the mutants, but he knows we are on the warpath for this movie. So Sean, tell us what's going to happen in minute 35 so we can get through this.
All right. We start minute 35 with the camera whipping around and ends with Culp saying, "Never mind about bringing them here."
All right, here comes minute 35, Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
The camera. It moved. Are you sure?
Virgil's right.
Governor, we just lost a TV monitor. Our 841 archive.
I'm not interested in equipment failures.
It wasn't a failure. It was destroyed, sir.
We've got to find another way out of here.
Is there another way?
They got past you. All right, then shoot on sight. Never mind about bringing them here. Just...
As of minute 35, we have a village's worth of apes and humans, plus a ghost city's worth of radioactive people, and a recording of Dear Sweet Zero and Cornetas. But, just a dash of Hasslein. But as they're recordings, we're just going to leave them here now.
All right, a Dash of Hasslein. That is the name of this episode. I will just tell you that. Okay, so many things happen right off the top that we...
Real quick, before you get into it, can I tell you what my pet peeve is for this minute? It's
Please do.
Bad. It's bad
actually,
audio.
I don't know if you can. Can you?
Yes, I can.
Get it right back to him. There you go.
Hey.
Serve it.
It's the bad audio dubbing of the footsteps and everything, because in real life they'd be making loads of noises just walking around and stuff. It's like whenever somebody's outside and they're in a forest and they're trying to be quiet, they always mute all the audio of somebody walking on the leaves and stuff, where you'd hear them stomping around. This is that same thing.
I agree. So off the top, we have a little swish pan that we get back to these mutants walking through.
Approaching mutants, yeah.
I dig the shot with the dude in the forefront with the gun. I love your visual storytelling, J. Lee Thompson, that you are putting it there and you tell me he is coming with a gun. You brought
weapons.
That's right. You've brought the gun. You can use the gun. Now, then we got the guy in the background walking through. What I hate. And, okay, you want to talk about pet peeve, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we have the audio of the camera going... Because Virgil spins and looks at this camera for no reason. None. There's nothing that draws his attention. He has to completely turn around to look at the camera. I mean, there should be something that draws his attention.
Yeah, I mean, I think they didn't put the noise there because that way Caesar can go, "Are you sure that it moved?" And
well, that's my next pet peeve. If I fucking told you it moved,
then it moved.
Well, as it so happens, this shot was supposed to take place back when Virgil first noticed the camera, when they walked into the archives.
Oh, it's supposed to move then?
He's supposed to shoot the goddamn fucking camera.
Oh, right when he walked in?
5 minutes ago.
Okay, let's talk about that. You have a limited number of bullets. You've got a limited number of weapons, but you unload an entire clip into the camera.
He wanted that camera dead.
No fucking shit.
And the character that is doing it is the one that I would not imagine
smart one, yeah.
is not the one that I would imagine firing a gun.
You would think Caesar would do it or something.
Yeah, so originally, basically, the camera's supposed to move as they walk in the room. Virgil notices it. Virgil alerts the others and points at it and says, "Look." McDonald says it's been there for years. The late governor used to have the corridors equipped. He's supposed to not believe that it's actually moving. And no. Virgil goes, no, it moved. And Caesar's supposed to like, "You're sure?" And then the camera does move. And then Virgil shoots it.
Okay.
You know what? They probably didn't do that sequence because it puts too much distance between the mutants coming in to attack them. And if they had shot 2 or 3 minutes earlier, the mutants would already know they're there and be attacking a whole lot faster.
Well, but that's just it. All the moments with shoot to maim, security cameras out, all that stuff was supposed to give the mutants a reason to move towards the archive, right?
Okay.
What Virgil does here is supposed to basically, they discover them, but the camera destruction is what's supposed to motivate the mutants to actually really go after them.
Okay, so
it's supposed to build some tension before they watch the video. Now, granted, we get them to watch the video in peace, but I feel like shooting the camera and then suddenly realizing there's people around them kind of comes out of nowhere.
Well, okay, so the camera, I like if this had occurred where it was supposed to, because then you build that tension. Okay, Virgil only needs to shoot once. If Virgil's going to be the one, maybe he's scared. That's when Caesar reaches over Virgil. He's like, "I'm sorry, I was scared." He needs to say that, and then McDonald says, "What if someone hears?" And then there's no one alive here to hear McDonald.
Yeah, because as far as we know, they think it's a dead city. Yeah.
Right. And then they let it go. But if we had the camera move earlier, it would explain why the projector is working now.
Yeah,
to some extent.
So
why there's a little bit of power.
Well, then also the way it's constructed here, we get the shot and we cut to Alma losing the monitor. The first reaction shot is the guys approaching should look like, "Oh shit, where's that coming from?" That should happen, and we get no reaction from the approaching mutants.
Yeah,
we just cut to Alma.
Well, but that's because it's edited out of order. I mean, that's they don't have the stuff they need for that because this gunfire happened so much earlier, and they're nowhere near where the gunfire actually happens at that time. They're still in their bunkers and beds. Yeah. So you want them to react to this gunfire, and they didn't shoot that because they weren't in the same location at the time.
Well, then we get Culp stepping into the Alma thing, and boy, we want to talk about pet peeves. Another one, unmotivated movement within the frame. I don't need to see Culp walk over to her. And in fact, if you constructed the scene, he should be watching that monitor, and he should see Virgil shoot it. Yeah. This doesn't work either. We already know he's watching a lot of this footage. They know they have the camera there. If you're going to insert this here, he would have seen Virgil shoot. He wouldn't have made this thing about I'm not interested in equipment failures.
Equipment failures, yeah. I mean, I can see he's not interested in equipment failures because equipment's probably been failing for a decade down there since it's a dead city. So that wouldn't be a surprise to him. But yeah, she should have been much more excited about it. No, they fired upon the camera or something.
Well, if I'm her, I'm armed. I'm like, "Look, asshole, you just saw the ape shoot at the camera. You were watching the thing." But
You're watching the same show I am. I don't have any more information you have.
Of course, I got cringe moments having worked in television of that is every engineer that's ever approached when you say, hey, something's not working. I'm not interested in the equipment failure. You know, that they always have to tell you that somehow it's not broken. And that's all he does.
They need to send Alm out there to do a field fix and smack the camera, see if that gets it working again.
What I don't follow is how do McDonald and Virgil and Caesar even know there's anybody there?
Yeah.
All they do is they get a camera move.
I would have said what McDonald should have said is, when he talked about the cameras being in the archives because the governor was paranoid about stuff, he should have said automated cameras were set up in the archives so that they think this is just an automated camera that's moving and it's not being controlled by a human.
Oh, by the way, he does have that line. It's just not in there. He has a line like that a little bit after he talks about the camera setups, about automated to their control center. So even after they shoot the camera, they have a little bit of speculations about whether they're alone. I needed that. I needed them to think that they were alone. I needed them to bump into somebody or something before they start running, because they don't. There's no reason for them to be afraid.
It's because the camera moved and they heard a noise
and they shot something, and it's just not. It's not enough for me to believe that it's not. In the same way that Culp thought it was mice earlier, why is it? That's what I was going to say. Now?
Why aren't they thinking, oh, it's a rat or something? Nobody's been down here for a decade.
They've set the audience up that if somebody's, Virgil said that if somebody's down here, they're not going to be very recognizable, but somebody could live down here. We just needed more of a tease for them to realize they're not alone. More than just a camera movement. Unless they heard Culp come over the intercom, unless they heard something like that, the order to kill. If they'd heard the order to kill from Culp, because Culp's obviously broadcasting to these agents.
Yes.
Or so he's obviously broadcasting. Surely these are three have heard this.
Yeah, he's broadcasting over an intercom system that does not appear to be limited in where it's broadcasting. It appears to be broadcasting everywhere. So you would think that they would, nothing else, would hear the very slight echoing of the announcement down the hallway. Something.
Yeah, never mind about bringing them in. Never mind about bringing them here. It needed Virgil, McDonald, and Caesar needed to hear that to know what's going on.
And we need to see the reaction to it. We need to be watching their faces as this is heard, and that there needs to also be right then the revelation that they see a mutant. You've got to pay this off. It works so much better if they leave the camera thing alone, like we've discussed, let them tell that story that is automated. Then
give them a sense of being calm for the video footage.
Yes.
And then have it blow up for them.
Right.
Like, oh shit,
and
we're not alone.
Now we're not alone. We hear that boom, we're running, we hear this voice out of nowhere, and then somebody should step around, and that person should probably be the most horrifically scarred of them all that we see at that point. Yeah. They step up in their mouth, something that shows these people they never ever see the threat. They never hear the threat. They're just running because they saw a camera move and Virgil shot it.
I did have a giggle to myself. I thought it'd be hilarious if we had a No Country for Old Men where it's a chase scene where the two groups never see each other. Virgil and Caesar and McDonald are all running away. The mutants are chasing them, but the mutants never see them and they never see the mutants.
To your point about wanting to see kind of horrific mutant, it would have been very nice to have them, very Morlock / mole men kind of coming out of darkness and areas and moving with something other than just kind of a giant upright walking around with guns. Like, it would have been nice to see them slink in and out of the shadows.
Yeah.
And come up behind consoles as if they're, possibly partially lurched over, just something to make them more terrifying than just dudes with a little bit of prosthetic scarring on their faces. But because I don't know. Also, the end of the minute where McDonald and Virgil are, hey, we got to get out of here. Let's duck down this way, whatever they say. I don't know where they came from. I don't know where they're going. Yeah. I don't know these hallways. I can't see enough of these rooms. They're just standing next to pipe plumbing at some point. Like, I don't have a sense of what's